Hey all, in this video we are going to talk about how we write the equation of a line, but when we're given just a point and the given slope. So we could put this on the graph, put the point on the graph, and then from there move according to the slope and figure out what the line looks like. But this still wouldn't exactly tell me the equation of the line until I would derive all the way to the point of finding my y-intercept. Now there's an easier way that we can do this. And we remember there's a few different ways that we talk about the equation for the line, but the most common way that we discuss that is our slope-intercept form. And of course we know that my y here and my x here are just a point on the line. We know that m here is my slope, and we know that b is our y-intercept, which I will abbreviate. So what we really need is our m value and our b value. We want this when we have our equation. We want the y and the x to be y and x. But to get to that point, I'm going to plug in everything that I know. So when I look at number 6, what I know is a point on the line and the slope. So I set up my general equation to begin with, and I guess I'll leave that shown for the current time. I set up my general equation. I say it's y equals mx plus b. Then start to plug in what you know. So this y is actually 1 when the slope is 1/5, and my x value is 10. So all I did was I took the point that it gave me, because it says that it passes through the given point, so we know that point is on the line. So I plugged that in for my y and my x values. I knew the slope was 1/5, so I plugged that in for my m value. And the only thing I don't know is my y-intercept, my b value. But now I can derive that by solving this equation for the b value. So I now have 1 equals, well, what's 1/5 of 10? That would be 2 plus b. To get rid of that 2, since it's a positive 2, we just subtract away 2 from both sides. Might as well show my work here. And b is going to be a value of -1. So now that I know my b value and I know my m value, I can make this equation, actually I'm going to need a little bit more space, and say that it's just y equals my 1/5 x minus 1. We could say plus a -1, but that's kind of redundant to say plus a negative, so instead we can just write -1. Go ahead and try 7 and 8 on your own if you would like. I'm going to take a second to hopefully give you a head start. Pause the video if you need, but then I will talk through those solutions here in just a moment. So remember this, because our next slide is not going to have all of this on it. So for number 7, again, I just have the point and the slope. So start with your general equation, y equals mx plus b. Plug in your y value of -9, your m value of -5, your x value of 8. Sorry, switch those around. Hope I didn't do that on the last one. Let's make sure I did the right thing over here. Yep, so I did it right there. I just almost made a mistake here. So be careful to use your x and your y properly. So my y is 8 when my x is -9. And I don't know my b, so I just leave it as b. Then we're going to work through, solve the equation for b. So -5 times -9, I know that a negative times a negative makes a positive. 5 times 9 is 45. That's all plus b. So then, to solve for my b value, just get rid of that 45 from the b. Nah, that looks really bad. Now, some people still have issues with adding and subtracting positive and negative numbers. So when we look at this, 8 minus 45, think about which is bigger, the positive number or the negative number? Well, my 45 is really a negative value, so that's bigger. So I know my answer is going to be negative. That's why I already wrote the negative. And then I have to just say, well, what's the difference between 45 and 8? So if this is still confusing for you, in your head, just think through what's the difference between 45 and 8, and then my answer will be that, just negative. So this comes out to be 37. So my B value is a negative 37. But again, I'm not done. We're ignoring number 8 for now. My equation would then become y equals my slope of negative 5 times x minus 37. And if you want to check this, go ahead and plug in the x value of negative 9 and the y value of 8 and see, is this still true? That should plug in and come out to be true. As long as your left side equals your right side, everything that we've done is correct. Last problem we're going to do here is number 8, which has an undefined slope, which you'll remember an undefined slope, a horizontal line would have a slope of 0 because the rise is 0 as we run, however far we run, whether it's 5 or 10 or infinitely far. With an undefined slope, that gives us a vertical line. So if we know that it's a vertical line, think about, is that a y equals or is that an x equals? So if we're thinking about a vertical line on the coordinate grid, say a line, actually they tell me it passes through -4 and -5. So something like this. If I move my coordinate grid up here, remember, math is not about memorizing, it's about thinking. So let's say this is -4. We're going to put a point down here at -5. So I have this is the point that we're looking at. Would my x value always stay the same, or would my y value always stay the same? Well, as I move on my line, I have a lot of different y values, but my x value is always consistent. So with an undefined slope, that means it's a vertical line which uses an x equals expression or equation. So here, x equals, what does x equal? It just equals -4. And that is the equation of our line because it is a vertical line. The undefined slope tells us that. That is my line. My line will always be an x value of -4. The y value has nothing to do with it. If you have any more questions about finding the equation of a line given only the point and the slope, go ahead and look around for some other videos. But if you have any specific questions, let me know. I will create videos as soon as possible. And aside from that, see you guys in class. Have a wonderful day.